Saudi Arabia has been cooking up something massive. This has been going on over several years, and I have gone down an absolute rabbit hole with my buddy Tom, piecing it all together. It all started with my video about Kylian Mbappe rejecting a $1 billion offer from the Saudis, and I've linked it down in the description below. If you are interested in watching it, feel free to go and give it a watch. So let's start with Vision 2030. It's a long-term strategic plan that was announced by the Saudi Arabia government back in 2016. The plan outlines a comprehensive blueprint for the country's future development across various sectors, with the goal being to reduce its economic reliance on oil and to grow and diversify its economy. Vision 2030 encompasses a number of key points, but the one in particular, which ties directly into the video and what I'm going to be talking about today, is tourism expansion. The plan envisions Saudi Arabia becoming a tourism hub by promoting historical sites, cultural attractions, and entertainment events to attract international visitors. Now, it's pretty obvious that Saudi Arabia has been engaging in a form of sports washing by strategically investing in and hosting high-profile sporting events. This approach involves using sports to divert attention from controversial issues which plague their country, definitely have been a common one over the last couple of years, and also to enhance their international image. For example, they've hosted major events like boxing matches, Formula One races, and golf tournaments, which draw global attention and positive media coverage. These events showcase Saudi Arabia as a modern and progressive nation, potentially overshadowing concerns about human rights abuse and political controversies. And I want to put a disclaimer in here by noting that this video is not going to dive into those controversies surrounding Saudi Arabia. Instead, I'm going to be focusing on the staggering sums of money being invested in hiring and recruiting players to join their leagues and teams. Think about lavish spending and high stakes acquisitions, which will probably leave you in a state of shock. One final fact before we jump into these crazy statistics: Saudi Arabia as of 2022 had a GDP of 1.1 trillion US dollars, and 46% of that GDP came from their oil exports. Talk about not being diversified. Keep that in the back of your mind as we continue on. Reported by The Guardian, Saudi Arabia has spent at least 6.3 billion US dollars, which is 4.9 billion pounds, in sports deals since early 2021, more than quadruple the previous amount spent over a 6-year period in what critics have labeled an effort to distract it from its human rights record. Now, let me ask you, the viewer, a question. Pause the video, drop me a comment down below. When you think of Saudi Arabia, and you might already know the answer, but when you think of Saudi Arabia, it's, a pretty dry and arid location. What sports do you think they would heavily be investing money into based on their natural landscapes? The most evident choice would probably be motorsport, given their association with oil. And you would be right. Enter Aramco. Aramco is a state-owned oil company by the Saudis, and you may have seen it pop up as advertisement in many races in the Formula One roster. Saudi also recently secured a spot on the big boy table among the elite race destinations on the F1 calendar, adding Jeddah as of 2021. Not to mention that they also tried to buy the entirety of Formula One for a whopping 20 billion US dollars. All right, let's build on the momentum that I'm creating from here by going further down the rabbit hole. Allow me to pose this question. When you find yourself amidst the vast expanse of the desert, what sport naturally springs to mind? Golf? Golf? Huh? Saudi Arabia, home to the world's largest and driest sand desert, the Rub Al Khali, and they decided to take on the PGA Tour head-to-head and have proven themselves as a direct competitor. In essence, they established an entirely new golf league and extended exclusive invites to players. A number of the most prominent names in golf were enticed into the Saudi-backed league, including Cameron Smith, Dustin Johnson, Bryson DeChambeau, Brooks Koepka, and other heavy hitters. Initially, the PGA fought back. Their stance was very clear. Participation in the LIV tournament, being the Saudi-backed golf league, would result in a banning of competing in the PGA Tour. Until recently, where PGA seemed to have changed their stance and now are allowing players to compete across both leagues. PGA, who held a monopoly on golf in general for decades, were brought to their knees because Saudi Arabia started offering absolutely insane amounts of money to entice the players on that tour to come and play in their league. For reference, and I want to be very clear here, the 4 names that I just mentioned a moment ago, like just those 4 people, were offered a combined total of $800 million to play in the Live Golf tournament, excluding prize money. And average TV viewership per event of the first season of the Live tournament sat around 300,000 people, compared to that of the PGA Tour, which sits well and truly around 2.5 million viewers per leg. There is a relatively large difference there, considering we're talking sums of money that would not see the same return from the Saudis. Okay, let's move into an even bigger industry within the sporting world. Let's kick off the discussion about the world game, football, also known as soccer. It's a globally cherished sport that unites cultures and nations. With its simple rules and minimal equipment requirements, soccer's universal appeal reaches both professional stadiums and local neighborhoods. European football leagues, notably in England, Italy, Spain, France, and Germany, have served as the epicenter of the sport's global community for decades. These leagues have continuously drawn audiences from around the world, captivating their fans with thrilling matches and iconic players. So naturally, based on today's topic, the question arises, could Saudi Arabia be on the cusp of establishing one of the most prominent leagues in the world? And what steps are they taking to establish themselves as a dominant force in the world of football? Simply put, they are throwing an unrivaled amount of money at their own league. They are offering eye-watering sums of money to sign players, and I'm going to break it down for you right now. The first domino which kicked this off was the successful acquisition of arguably the world's most prominent player, Cristiano Ronaldo. He signed a contract with the club Al Nassr for a whopping $130 million per year. And for reference, his prior team's salaries were not even close to being competitive. Take a look. The most he ever made in a single season, adjusted for inflation, was approximately 70 million USD at Juventus. Since his signing for the Saudi League, some of Europe's top talent has also been lured across, again for eye-watering sums of money, exceeding $100 million per season per contract. Think of names like Karim Benzema, Neymar, Riyad Mahrez, Sadio Mane, and N'Golo Kante, but they couldn't get Messi. Wait, they still succeeded in securing his endorsement as a Saudi ambassador, reportedly for a staggering $25 million over 3 years. So you're telling me the guy just has to make Instagram posts about the country and is going to get paid absolute buckets of money to do so? What a life he must live. What we've seen so far is that by persisting with this strategy, Saudi could effectively buy their way to success. It's essentially pay to win for their country. Money undeniably holds sway. In my opinion, personally, everyone has a price. And if they continue to attract talent through the mechanisms that they're putting in place, it's probably safe to assume that they're going to see a massive surge in viewership because people want to watch interesting and exciting games, and the players are the people who are going to make that happen. Emulating the legacy of European football is an undoubtedly daunting task. It's going to be really tough for them to pull off. However, this could be it. This could be the disruptor where we see a significant change in the hierarchy of the global sport. Football is a really interesting one. There are lots of topics surrounding money to cover within that domain. It's something that I'll probably touch on more in the future. If you have any suggestions for videos you'd like me to do, diving deeper into the topics, please leave me a comment down below. I think it's safe to say that Saudi Arabia are not expecting to see a return on their investment for their extravagant spending anytime soon. However, the interesting aspect is they might not actually need to. With the continued presence of big names and captivating events, the audience is likely to remain, because the entertainment value is substantial. And to be fair, on the Saudi Arabia side of things, it's worth noting as well that this isn't unique to Saudi Arabia. In general, people are willing to pay for high quality entertainment. We see it happening every single day, more and more in our world, because there's a lot of money going around, there's a lot of high profile events going on all of the time, and people like to be entertained. Their approach could potentially serve as a blueprint for other countries who are also facing controversial backlash or have a reputation that could potentially be uplifted by applying the same tactics that we're seeing Saudi Arabia put in place. A recent example that would come to mind would be the World Cup, which was hosted by Qatar. Vision 2030 is a noteworthy endeavor aimed at positioning Saudi Arabia as a formidable global contender across various domains and reshaping the nation's identity on the world stage. Through the use of sports as a platform, Saudi Arabia can convey an impression of openness and cultural engagement. However, lots of people are skeptical, and I don't think people are blindsided to the fact of what they're doing. It's pretty obvious that the main objective is to present a more appealing and positive facade to the world, effectively diluting the intensity of contentious issues. Naturally, this strategy has sparked discussions about the ethical implications associated with using or employing sports as a tool for image manipulation. With seemingly boundless financial resources, it's practically pocket change for their nation. The unfolding outcome promises to be a spectacle worth observing. And with that being said, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Thank you for watching, and as always, I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.